Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to buy clothes you'll actually wear. And I've got an 8-step process that I like to go through to make sure that this item of clothing is really going to suit my style and work in my wardrobe. Speaking for myself, I know there are some things that I thought was a fantastic idea when I was purchasing it that just never ended up getting worn once it was in my wardrobe. So today I'm going to share with you the things that help me avoid this problem when I am shopping or shopping the sales. Before we get started, I do want to tell you that I am actually a big sales shopper. There are a lot of good pieces in my wardrobe that I purchased during the sales. As an example, I was able to purchase both of my Chloe bags, both on 50% off sales, and I feel like there are good deals to be had in the sales. But on the flip side, there have also definitely been purchases that were not so great, and that's what we're trying to avoid with these tips. My very first tip is about knowing how to describe your style and knowing what pieces you like to wear. I think having this knowledge and clarity in your wardrobe and in your style makes it a lot easier to go out and buy things in a way where you are confident that you're going to wear it. I like to break down my personal style into 3 descriptions of being modern, of being feminine, and also minimal. So when I'm looking at my wardrobe, some of my most worn pieces are pieces that fall into that personal style description. A while ago, I purchased this really bright blue Birkenstock, and this is a piece that I felt pretty confident I would wear a lot because it was able to kind of fit into how I would describe my style, and I also had a real function for it when I thought about some of the outfits that I like to wear the most. Not surprisingly, my second tip is about fabric composition, and one of the first things I like to do when I'm looking at a garment I'm interested in is look at the fabric tag. I have a tendency to prefer natural fibers over synthetics. However, I do believe every fabric has a pro and a con, and sometimes knowing that will help you find pieces that suit your lifestyle more. This trouser that I have here is a linen viscose and elastane blend. It's about 50% linen and then the rest is viscose. Having the viscose in this trouser definitely has a function of making the linen look a little bit more polished for longer, and also it helps with the drape of this trouser and it makes it a little bit more flattering. Here you can see all the fabrics do their part. Viscose is a pretty controversial fabric, but there are a lot of eco-veros around. Even lyocell and tencel, which are a more sustainable fabric, do offer a nicer drape, and that often looks very beautiful with linen. So linen is high quality, but it may not be suitable for everyone, and I think understanding more about the fabrics really helps buy the clothes that suit your lifestyle. In one of my previous videos, someone commented that they don't really like alpaca and mohair because they can be irritating, and I completely understand and agree with this comment. It's not my favorite material either. So I wanted to do a deep dive and understand why some brands use these materials, because I don't think it's necessarily cheap. So why do they add it into clothes? Some pros for alpaca is actually that it's 3 to 5 times warmer than wool, so that could be a potential reason. It's fairly wrinkle and peel resistant, and it also takes color and dye very well. Even though, as I said, they're not my favorite, it might work for some people because of those properties. For the longest time, I've been looking for a pleated skirt, and it doesn't matter if I go low end or high end, they are always made from polyester. There are a few cases they're made from wool, but obviously that's a completely different look. I'm looking for something that's quite flowy and drapey. We've got this one from Mango, which is pleated, and you can see that it's made from a polyester material. On the other hand, we've got this high-end version from Regina Pio. Even though it's much more expensive and premium, is made from same thing, polyester, though it's recycled. I only very recently discovered why. One of the qualities of polyester is actually the fact that it retains pleats set by heat. So maybe some natural fibers won't be able to hold on to those pleats as well, which is why so many brands use the synthetic material. I'm obviously not promoting polyester for obvious reasons, but I do think it's interesting to understand the different fabrics, and this is just another example of how one fabric, even though I don't like this fabric and don't support it, can actually have its reasons for being used other than just cutting costs and being seen as just a cheap material. The next question I like to ask myself is this classic or does it have a twist? I'm a little bit biased here, but I really love a basic with a twist because I find that these are the pieces that get the wear in my wardrobe. This is also one of my ways of doing more with less, because the basic basic with a twist serves both the function of a basic, but also an item that is a little bit more elevated, and it's just doing more things than just the classic would. One of my examples is this sparkly silver t-shirt with a ruffle on the sleeve. There is very rarely an outfit that I can wear a white t-shirt with that I can't wear this with. And this just makes the outfit feel a little bit more special without me actually having to do a whole lot. And a slightly more modern example would be this. This is just a grey sweatshirt, but it's got this sculpted sleeve detail, which just makes it feel a little bit more fashion compared to a normal sweatshirt would. I'm going to show you a few examples now of classics, but with a bit of a twist. On the End of a Stories website, we've got this ribbed sweater, and it's also got this cool shoulder detail. I think this piece can be worn with anything that you would normally wear a plain white sweater with, but it will just really elevate that outfit in a simple way. I'm just gonna compare it to a plain sweater. You can kind of imagine if we were to style these both with jeans, the one with the twist will just feel a little bit more finished and require less styling. And you can of course still style it up because it's not so fancy that styling it up will make it too busy. I was taking a look on the Outnet the other day, one of the places that I do often like to shop at, and I saw a few things from Regina Pio again, which I thought I'll share with you. I'm looking at a blue blouse and it's got the buttons going across the body, and it's also got some gold details on the buttons. I feel like this can be a great basic with a twist to replace a normal blue blouse. I asked myself, can I wear this on every occasion that I would wear a regular poplin blue blouse? And if the answer is yes, then it will be just as versatile, but providing the additional detail. These pieces are kind of pricey, so I'm not looking to buy anything. I'm just doing some window shopping and appreciating the designs. My last example is this canvas top. So this is a good example of a basic with a twist, but I'm not so sure it will be as versatile. The sleeve is so beautiful, but I feel like I'll have a hard time putting my jackets on because it is a lot more structured and large. I think it'll create some bulk in my jacket if I was to layer. And the other thing is that it's pretty voluminous on top, and I like to wear voluminous trousers, and I'm not sure if I could do that and have it still look nice. This is very specific, but I really think being this specific is how you buy things you actually wear when you do consider the components of it and how it work with your wardrobe. My fourth tip is asking the very important question of, do I have duplicates, and most importantly, can they work together? I think the duplicates part people often do, but asking whether they can work together I think is very important. What I mean is that if you have 3 wool blazers of the same weight in a similar dark color, then it would kind of be duplicating each other in a way that doesn't make too much sense. I think you'll wear your favorite one of the 3 and pretty much not reach for the other 2 as often. A good way to do it might be to have a wool blazer, which you can wear when the weather is cooler or in the winter, and then combined with that, you might have a linen blazer, which you wear in the summertime. If you want it to be, you know, a little bit extra, or if you live in a place where you've got 4 true seasons, even like a transitional option where it's in the middle could be functional in your wardrobe, especially if it is an item of clothing that you absolutely rely on year-round. I don't do duplicates for everything, but for the pieces that I wear the most of, like blazers, like stripes, I think that having some duplicates can be really functional because it does mean in that case you can wear it all year round and rely on it as a basic to style your other things. I'm not really doing this video in order, but next up I'm going to talk about price. Price is obviously very important and one of the first things we look at when we are considering a piece of clothing. Price is such a big topic, I almost don't know where to start. So one of the first things is finding brands that align with what you want to pay for. So for example, certain brands like Cezanne, you are definitely paying for the designs. I feel like they have very memorable designs that are a little bit different to other places, and that is one of the things that I pay for when I'm buying Cezanne clothes. As much as I love Cezanne, if you're looking to buy like a really simple pair of jeans and you went to Cezanne, you might not be as impressed as someone who really fits into that style and buys something really beautiful from the brand. So right off, finding the brands that really match with your expectation of what you're willing to pay for, I think is very, very important. This tip is actually sparked by the fact that I get a lot of questions asking, is something worth the price? Especially when something is more higher priced. And I always want to help, but I find it impossible to answer that question because we all look for different things, and what I'm looking for may not be the same as what someone else is looking for and therefore willing to pay for. Some things I really value is functional but also aesthetic design and also good craftsmanship. You probably can tell that through my channel. This is not a place where we talk about Shein and do Shein hauls and we focus on like quantity of new in. I don't know how much things cost at Shein, but even if I buy something for $10, for me that is $10 too much to pay. Whereas on the other hand, I may be happy to spend more on a good design, for example. I've got this coat in my wardrobe and let me show you some things I really like. So first up with the pockets. You've got the look of a pocket here, so going down the coat, but you've also got an actual pocket on the side as well. I was watching the brand explain this and it's basically so when you put your hands in, your hands aren't like sitting like this in the coat. It's so your arms can actually be a bit lower down and it's a bit more functional when you do want to put your hands in your pockets. There are also some cool accents on the back, including this D-ring. And then with the back, it's got a lot of shape to it because of these pleats over here. The next thing I ask, and this is usually a little bit later, when the item is looking pretty good, I like to check with myself whether this item looks like it has longevity and is there a better or higher quality alternative that I can find. Longevity for me is oftentimes mostly about the material and just looking at whether I think it will hold up. Sometimes this is not just about the material composition on the tag, it's also about that hand feel and taking a guess as to whether it will hold up to your lifestyle. This is obviously super important because if something's not gonna last, then it can't be a good purchase. Another thing I like to do a check is there a high quality alternative that I can go for? One of the ways that I like to find high quality pieces is looking in the sales and on places like the Outnet that do luxury pieces but heavily discounted. This is a blazer I had from Tibby and this was 200 and something Australian dollars, which I'll put up on the screen how much that is in US dollars. And this is a linen blend blazer that I found on the website that is just really high quality. I just went to the Zara website to see how much a blazer would cost there, and honestly the price difference between these two is really small and the quality between these two is very different. So if we're looking at what's more expensive, I honestly think the Zara one is far more expensive, especially when it's made from a synthetic material as opposed to something, you know, beautiful linen fabric that you can wear for a long time. Purchasing things like this is obviously more of a waiting game. You don't often have that same immediate satisfaction of buying the item in store, but it's always worth it because it is higher quality. This falls into something really interesting I read lately where someone said that they actually, because of their resources, cannot afford to buy cheap. It's this idea that cheap is actually for those who can afford it. It's for those who don't need their things to last and last. There's a lot to unpack there, but it's often cheaper to buy the high quality thing that will last compared to the lower quality thing that won't. We're almost at the end, but the next thing I'll ask is what am I going to style it with in my wardrobe? Sometimes when I'm buying something from a brand, I fantasize that I have their entire collection and I will be able to wear this piece with ease. But when I open up my wardrobe, I suddenly realize that these are two completely different vibes. The item that I want to pick up and then what's in my wardrobe. If it's sticking out like a sore thumb against what I own, chances are this is the thing that will not be a good purchase. I expect anything that comes into my wardrobe to create at least 3 very different looks at the minimum. Ideally, it would be one of those pieces that are just endless in terms of the versatility and in terms of the combinations you can create, but at the very minimum, 3 different looks is what I need from an item to feel like I can keep it. The last thing I like to ask myself before deciding to keep something is, will I wear it in the next week? I think a week is a pretty good time to encapsulate our lifestyle. So we probably create outfits to go to work in, we probably create outfits maybe to go out in, maybe to run errands, go to the supermarket, etc. And if this item is not going to work for any of these occasions in your life, then maybe this one is not so well suited to your lifestyle. If I find no occasion to wear it in that first week, chances are this is not going to be a good purchase. However, I actually don't wear it because one last thing that I often like to do when I'm not so sure about a piece is I'll let it hang next to some of my other clothes and get a feel for how this fits in with everything else. I think when you take an item of clothing out from the shops and out from the online website into your own wardrobe, you really get a very clear idea of how it's going to work. I don't do this with everything, but I definitely do it with things that I'm not 100% sure about, and I definitely do it with things that are a little bit outside of my usual purchase. With my bright blue Birkenstocks, I absolutely did this. I tried it on with everything in that week just to make sure I could and would wear it. So that is all for me today. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, I would love for you to go hit the like button down below. Otherwise, I also have an Instagram account if you'd like to follow me over there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll actually be back here in just a day or two with my second video this week, where I'm going to share with you what's changed in my wardrobe over the last few months. I don't do many of these videos, so it will just be a bit of an update where I can review some of the pieces that is new in. Thanks again, and I will see you soon. Bye!